Elon Musk, y'all know who that is? He made this statement. I think he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he made this statement about the fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy.
There's a guy who posts on X who's great, Godsad, and he talks about basically suicide empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's so much empathy that you actually suicide yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I believe in empathy. Like, I think you should care about other people, but you need to have empathy for civilization as a whole and not commit to a civilizational suicide.
Also, don't let someone use your empathy against you so they can completely control your state and then do an insanely bad job of managing it and never get removed.
The fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. The empathy exploit. They're exploiting a bug in Western civilization, which is the empathy response. It's weaponized empathy is the issue.
Yeah.
He doesn't see empathy the way that I do. My wife and I have been called the parents of radical empathy. This is like from this magazine Semana. It's like if you're in America, the Time or the Newsweek of Colombia. So I'm a parent of empathy. That means I suppose, according to Anna anyway, I know something about it. So we're going to follow through with this. All right, man. Have you all ever had this thought? I think it would be really interesting to learn about this person or that person. Give me an example of it, just for you.
I mean, when I'm just sitting somewhere, if I see someone, I would just think that it would be nice to see something from their perspective more than just learn.
Just somebody.
Yeah.
The first thing that comes to mind is, especially when you're driving on a road trip and you're just kind of watching other people's cars go by and you kind of look at somebody and their head's leaning on the window or they're having an animated conversation, just being like, what would it be like to be that person in that car?
That's cool. Or seeing the people whose houses butt up against the highway and, you kind of wonder, man, what would it be? I'm always thinking, what would it be like to live in that house? Or Faris, have you ever had this idea that you'd really like to refine your ability to just imagine what it would be like to be someone else? When you look at them and, you could just maybe come up with some random idea, but it'd be pretty cool if you got really good at your sociological skills and you had a pretty damn good idea about who they were and what they were doing and the kind of ideas they have. How about... Could you go with that?
So I'm assuming you mean what if I switch lives with another person, imagining myself in their position?
Yeah, in their position or being able to understand their position.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is athletes. When you see they live their life in luxury doing what we grew up doing as a hobby, but for them it's their job. I think it's one of the best daydreaming things that I go through. So I would say best, but most common.
Okay, so maybe but imagine if you met lots of athletes over the years, you could get pretty good at you could really refine your imagination. It wouldn't be just your imagination, but you would actually say, wow, I met this person, this person, this person, this person. I think I have kind of an understanding of what it is. Would that be cool?
I mean, yeah, of course it would be. When you think about it on a deeper level rather than just surface, and you get to see their day-to-day life rather than just what's on media, I guess.
Yeah. Liam, how about you, man?
How would it be like to have had all of those years and have the knowledge that you have now? That's not something, I can try and attain it, but I'll probably never be in the position that you're in with the experiences that you've had.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I will tell you, it's cool, man. I've been doing this for my whole life, really, but 40 years in traveling the world and meeting people and the craziest people, man. Oh my God, the stories. The story of that photo that we took. I could tell you a story about taking that photo and what happened and, oh my God, it's just cool. You refine your ability, okay? So listen, if you are a person who would say yes to these things, it would be really interesting to learn about X, Y, and Z people, and you'd really like to refine your ability. You'd like to be good at it, man. You know what I mean? Really good at it. You want to just get to be able to my age and be able to be able to look at people and say like, oh yeah, can have a pretty good understanding of who they are, even though you never fully know, but you have it. Okay, well, this is empathy. That's what empathy is, man. That's all it is right there. That's all empathy is. It has nothing to do with sympathy. It doesn't mean that when you see someone, you imagine being them, that's like an athlete or something, or you feel good for them, or you feel bad for them, or you feel like you should be like them, or they should be like you, or none of that. You shouldn't be who you are, that you should be more like that. There's none of that. There are no shoulds. Empathy is just understanding. That's it. It's not sympathy. You don't it doesn't mean you observe somebody, like I look at our camera operators and I'm like, wow, what would it be like to be a camera operator in this room instead of me? And then I just imagine like, okay, so what would that be? There's nothing that I feel like has to be any different to be a camera operator. Nothing. It's just like, wow, that's really interesting. What would that be like? Okay? That's empathy, y'all, right? And the reason you all are here is because you have something to show us about empathy, each one of you. So here, let me go with the next slide. It's called a radical experiment in empathy because what I said was I walked people in 18 minutes. I walked the viewer through the place where they could look at those two men in that photo who were identified as like ISIS, radical Islamic terrorists who are trying to kill American soldiers and attack the United States and whatever they want to do. I wanted to get people to be able to get in their shoes and have some understanding of who they are. For no other reason than I think it's cool. Like, come on, man. Like, if you imagine that there's somebody out there who hates you and wants to kill you, wouldn't it be fascinating to know something like, wow, why do you hate me? Like, why do you want to kill me? Like, wouldn't you want to know? Like, wouldn't you want to know, bro? Would you want to know? You two of you want to know? Like, you want to have it? I mean, why wouldn't, of anybody who you want to know that? These guys, right? It's like, dudes, what the? So here's the interesting thing about that talk. People in the higher up in militaries, not just in the United States, but in other militaries around the world, reached out to me. Like generals and admirals and commanders, right? Commanding officers. They watched that talk, and they reached out to me, and they said, hey, can you come talk at my base, or can you come talk to my troop? We started working with NATO because special forces guys in NATO. These were special forces guys. These were like, the Rangers and these were like what would be like the bad. These are the people in the military who go out on secret missions and kill bad guys. Okay? They're the ones who we make movies about, and you're like, I'm like, oh man, that person's a real badass. They're like, what you did in that talk is exactly what we try to teach all of our troops. Because if you don't know why it is that person's coming after you, then you don't have any understanding. You can't have an understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. But each one of them, as the years went on, each one would say, but it's harder and harder for enlisted personnel to understand that they gotta understand people like this. Because they don't get it. Families of enlisted personnel, I would get emails from people who'd be like, oh, you're an anti-American, you don't support our troops, you hate America, why don't you just go to Russia or wherever, I don't know, they wanted to send me somewhere. Because I dared to do this thought experiment about empathy. But the commanding officers in the military were really appreciative and fascinated by it, and they use it, and people still use this talk to help try to train soldiers, okay? So that's what I was doing in that. Okay, so here, it's a pretty cool quote. Learning about other people's stories, perspectives, and thoughts is valuable to me, especially those that differ from mine. That's Liam here. Liam wrote that. He wrote that in his application to be a volunteer. Do you have the idea that you have to agree? When you think about doing that, do you also have the idea that you have to agree with them, or you have to be like them, or you have to support them, or you have to...
I'm still my own person. I still have my own opinions. I mean, they can like influence and like change that a bit, but if at the end of the day I still disagree with it, or if it's opinions, and I disagree with it, nothing's making me like become a whole different person because of it. Really, it's also about like the stories and perspectives, though. Like I like hearing about what other people have been through in other people's lives. Like that's could only possibly change my perspective and who I am in a positive way by like teaching me about what other people have gone through or other people's lessons and experience. That's kind of like the cultural brainstorming of society right there.
Okay, so here, go back one slide. So those two guys, so they're radical Muslims in Iraq. They would hate you because you're Jewish, right? Would that does that make you even more curious about them, or is it like, does that influence the fact that they would hate me for sure, but they would also hate you?
If someone is going to come from a place of hate, it's not necessarily a natural thing for someone to have. There's going to be a reason behind it. No one is just, it's not like an inherent, oh, I see you, and for no arbitrary reason, just want to hate that person.
Yeah.
Like not even based on how they look or like anything about them, just they exist.
Yeah.
I think that there has to be a reason for these people. There's something there, and it's something that went through their lives, their stories, their experiences, their interactions that has led them to be in the position that they are. And I think that knowing why that happened, how that happened, and then being able to like see in my life what other people have gone through when I'm talking to them, how they've gained hate, and then how I can like think of, okay, how can we change that a little bit? I think that like knowing what they went through can be a positive experience on that one.
Yeah, but even for your own self, man, because you must have you feel feelings of hate at some point too.
Of course, everyone does.
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead, one slide. And the reason that's really interesting for you is because, in particular, like your grandparents fled Europe.
They fled Europe during the Holocaust. Yeah.
During the Holocaust, and went to Argentina, and then in the dirty wars, they got kicked out of Argentina and came where, to the U.S.?
Yeah, to Jersey.
Yeah, to Jersey. So like you grew up with stories.
I have so many stories.
So like, and you've been to Israel, and you've been around, you've traveled, like you got stories, and like so it's not chance that you would write that. I want to learn about people, man. I got the stories. This is my life.
I want to hear other people's.
You want to hear other people? Yeah. What is it? What is it about other people that really makes you?
I think that other people provide a different perspective onto the world. It's kind of like the parable of the blind scholars and the elephant. Mm-hmm. Our own perspectives are limited as to the reality of the world. Of course, the lives that we've lived bear true to what we've experienced, but our experience is only one part of the elephant. We can't really contribute to the idea of the whole if we're not willing to accept that other people's experiences and lives also contribute to the truth and reality of the world.
But what do you gain from that? What do you gain from learning other people's stories?
Apart from knowledge, I think it comes with a level of peace and a level of homogeny. Because if you don't understand the people around you and you're kind of very self-centered and self-minded, you tend to, the issues that you experience in your life tend to feel more severe than they actually are.
Yeah. That's actually pretty cool. Like in sociology, we talk about personal troubles and public issues. And personal troubles are the way we experience problems and things, they happen to us. But public issues they're happening to people all around us who are walking in shoes that are very similar to ours. How often do you have the experience about, learning about other people and kind of their perspective and their thoughts? Because I think Elon Musk, he misses something. His idea, I think he must be, he must be thinking that Empathy requires you to be like the other person and to abandon who you are and to accept the other person and to accept all the things good and bad about the other person. He must be thinking that, or people like that must be thinking that.